What's up, everyone? I want to give you basically a rig rundown of my new setup and just kind of explain the method behind having a double bass drum kit for my needs. So let's start off all the way to the left. Over here we've got the PDP Kraken 13-inch by 3.5, and this is running an Evans hydraulic coated snare head on top. As you can see, I've got it tuned pretty tight. Also makes for a good timbali sound when you cut the snare off. And it has the factory head underneath and factory snare strands. Moving on to my main snare drum. This is a 14 by 6 Tama SLP hand hammered steel snare, and I'm also running the Evans hydraulic coated on it with just a few pieces of tape on to cut off a little bit of the overtones. And then also have these Tama lug locks that are really helpful. And the cool thing about this snare, I swapped the factory strands for 42. So I've got 42 strand snare wires underneath. And this bad boy is very responsive, and it's just got a awesome snare sound to it. Then moving on to my third snare, which is also a floor tom. This is the Tama SLP Duo snare. So for a floor tom, I'm running, this also has the Evans hydraulic coated head, which I'm very partial to for all my snares. Every snare that I own, I believe, has this head on it right now. But here we go for the floor tom sound. And then turn the snares on. This also has 42 strand wires underneath it, so you get this fat dead snare sound. We'll come back to this part in a second, but I'm just going to give you an example here if we play a groove on it. So that does it for my snares. Next, we'll move on to the bass drums. On this side, I have a 26-inch by 14 PDP Concept Classic Maple Series, which are basically all of these drums, except for my snares. So this kick is running the Evans EMAD Onyx. And if you can tell down at the bottom here, I'm running a low boy lightweight beater. And this has a lot of punch to it. And then on this side, I have a 24 by 14 PDP Concept Classic Maple Series kick. And this is also running the Evans EMAD Onyx, same beater as well. If you hear the two. So with this being my main kick on this side, I use this other one to get some lower end frequencies, and if I do any type of like trash can ending or double bass part, I watched a video on Danny Carey talking about how he always put the lower pitched kick on the left and the higher pitched kick on the right. That way it didn't sound like it was in reverse if you did the whole. So you still get. So everything sounds good. And then if we look over here, we have the Vinyl sub cajon. So this guy has a double pedal running to it, but there's no beater on the first main side. But on the slave side, we have a foam beater that came with a Meinl cajon bass drum kit I bought. But what I'm doing is I'm running, by the way, most of these pedals I'll go over in a moment as well. This is a PDP Concept longboard pedal. It's running there. Now when we have this thing mic'd up, there's a big porthole on the sub cajon, and man, it just has such a low end sub frequency. It's lower than any of the kick drums that I have, and it just makes for a really cool groove when you're playing beats with a shaker. So if you're playing like so, as far as the kicks, that's all three of those. Then let's talk about pedals. So on both of my kick drums, I'm using the PDP Concept longboard pedals, and these came out maybe somewhere around 2015 or so, I believe, or it might have been a year or two earlier than that. And they are discontinued now, so you have to find these like on Reverb or eBay, and people want quite a bit of money for them. But recently I was able to pick up the single on this side for $99. The double pedal I got brand new back in the day, I think it was like $170, but now they're running like 200, almost 300 bucks if you find one. And then also the hi-hat stand as well. But the longboard, just, there's a whole new level of sensitivity to the kick, and these are dual chain, not like a drive system, but just chain. And you have a lot of leverage being able to come back, and you can get those beaters just to bounce like that. Alright, next, I'd say let's go ahead and hit the toms. So this is a 13 by 9. I'm running an Evans hydraulic glass on it and an Evans G1 on the bottom. I do have a small piece of gaff tape on the bottom of this tom, but on top, nothing. And then of course, we talked about the 14 here. Then we have a 16 by 16 floor, and all of these are maple, both toms that came with the kit. And notice they have the wood hoops. And I'm also running Evans hydraulic glass on top and Evans G1 on the bottom. Just really fat, punchy toms. Alright, and then last but not least, our cymbals. So right here we have a Meinl ching ring that I keep on top, and this is good like when I'm just keeping time on the hi-hat with my foot. I get that tambourine sound. And I'm also running this really cool Sizzle Touch Tama drop clutch here that I can just tap and have a closed hi-hat, which you can adjust. Let's see if I can move the camera up. The more you tighten it, the more it raises the height, and then you loosen it up. And you've got an adjustment over here where you can make it closed. And then stomp, and it opens back up. Anyway, these hats are the Dream Dark Matter 14-inch hats, and they are super dry, super dark, just a really cool, unique sounding set of hi-hats. We put the chain ring on. And then this is, I think this is Concept Percussion. I'll find out and leave a link. I bought this little setup for like 50 bucks, I believe, and it's three, let's see if this is showing up well. It's 3 discs that are held on, and you can make this as loose or tight as you want it. And this mount I made myself. So basically, this is a vinyl percussion mount, like for a cowbell or woodblock. And then, if you can see, I took the top portion of a hi-hat rod right here, and then I bent it where it would fit in here. So it's like a mini hi-hat stand. So with these little mini hats, that's pretty loose. If you could tell, when I hit the kick, they make noise. So what I want to do normally is tighten them up to right where I'm not getting any sound from them moving. It just gives me another hi-hat option where I can play this and keep this tambourine going at the same time. Next, we have the Dream 20-inch flat earth dark matter ride. And this ride symbol here is one of my favorites. I thought my battery had went down, sorry. This ride is so versatile. It is also used as a crash. What's really cool about this cymbal, when I first got it, I didn't like it because I wasn't used to these darker tones. And it's one of those cymbals that you have to learn how to play. So you can't just beat and bash away on it. There's a certain finesse that you have to give. And man, this thing is just super musical. So anyway, really cool cymbal. A lot of people wonder why I really only have like one crash ride and I don't have multiple crashes, but I think simplicity is better. Notice I have more hi-hats than anything. So this next is a custom setup that I have. This is a Dream Dark Matter Bliss Paper Thin 18-inch crash on top, and then underneath, see if I can do this without messing it up, underneath is a Peisty PSTX 18-inch medium crash. So I've got this hidden underneath here, and this is a DW hi-hat mount that they have that is super cool. This is it's got a lot of different adjustments on it. Sorry, I've had the camera weird there for the last little bit. So, talking about the adjustment at the top before I actually talk about the cymbals here, this is a really cool thing because once you tighten it up on top, what you do is we're going to put this all the way down tight. like this and tighten that up. And then, the more you go open, it opens it up more. So this whole stack that I have so many different sound options with this as well, because not only can I use it like a stack, but I can close it up as a hi-hat sound. And then if I want to open it up a little bit, so I can get that stack or stacker sound. But then I can also open this thing up a lot and I can get the effect of like having a crash cymbal. So what we'd have is like, and normally I keep this about halfway, and then if I want to crash, all I've got to do is swipe over to this and then bring it back. So that's a gist of everything. Hardware, let's see, let's take a look real quick. This stand here, this is the 6000 series by DW, and it's the flush base stand, so they're all single brace, super light, easy to carry around. We're gonna move our way around the kit for just a few more pieces. This is the DW microphone, the bass drum mount that connects on, and this makes everything super easy as far as mounting, having your mics mounted, and you don't have to worry about having a lot of stands just all over the stage. And that's the cool thing about my kit. This new setup is all the mics are mounted onto the kit, and I have all the mics ready, so I don't have to worry about other sound engineers or front of house people complaining about anything or stands. And all of my mics will mount, directly onto the shelves, or in this case, like on the bass drums. So as you can see on this one, I have the same DW bass drum mount as well right here. And these are just my studio mics I'm running until I have another show come up. All of the mics are in our trailer that we have, and I run all Shure mics. And then this is, last but not least, this is the DW 6000 series straight cymbal stand that I run for my crash ride here. And notice that the weight is definitely important, keeping that weight down, because I have my stacker running on this auxiliary mounted hi-hat stand that DW puts out. I know it's a little dark in here, but I'm doing the best I can. And then, if you notice the custom bass drum heads for Crenshaw Trucking Band, those heads were, I think, customdrumheads.com. Seriously, the reason why I picked it is because if you go through Evans, you will have to have the Evans logo on the front, and I just wanted a clean logo of our band on the front with no Evans logos at all. It's just being completely matte black with the logo on it, which turned out really nice. And let's see, two more pieces I forgot right here. This is the hi-hat mount that goes on the bass drum hoop right here. This thing is a tank, and it is awesome. So this, if we can move around here, makes it where you can fold the legs up on your hi-hat stand, where you can get your pedal to line up directly beside the bass drum pedal, which works really great. And then my snare drum stands, I have two matching snare drum stands, one for the rack tom and one for the snare. And I think this is the DW 3000 series, as you can tell by this adjustment on here. But those are tanks as well. Really strong hardware. They really do, in my opinion, make the best hardware and best looking hardware out there. But that's just my opinion. But anyway, I want to thank you all so much for taking the time to watch and listen. And this has been a rig rundown of my kit. And I think I've left out one thing real quick. I endorse Los Cabos drumsticks. I play their White Hickory Jazz model, and my signature right there. And these sticks have a barrel tip, which is really good for articulate ride playing and also for like really fat sounds with the drums. And these are also a little bit longer than usual. These are 16 something, I can't remember. And the diameter is about the size of a 5A, but just a slightly, maybe a slightly bit beefier than a 5A. But I've been playing these sticks since 2016. I've been an American independent artist for them since January of 2016. So it's crazy. It's been a while now, going on 10 years. But love these drumsticks. They hold up so well. They sound good. They feel good. Anytime I put any other pair in my hands, nothing feels right. So this is home for me. And I just want to say thank you, Los Cabos, for having me and for the support and for making such a great quality stick. And it feels like such a small family-owned business, which they are the largest drumstick manufacturer in Canada. And they make real high-quality products. But it's a father and his son and daughter, and they all make drumsticks that supply many top-notch artists, as well as independent artists like myself, drummers and educators. So big shout out to Los Cabos. But thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch and listen. And this has been my rig rundown for my Crenshaw Trucking Band kit. And this is also my drum set, just period, for me at home for projects and whatever else. And the sky's the limit. I love the fact that I have 2 kicks, actually 3 bass drum choices, 3 snare drum choices, 3 hi-hat choices, 3 tom choices, and then with this crash ride, I have a ride, a crash, and a bell. So for some reason, 3 is the magic number, and it gets the job done. But thank you guys so much, and until next time, I'll see you later.